Mark Schlereth, how did Pat Bowlen and John Elway convince Peyton Manning Denver was the best place for him?
Well, number one, John Elway won championships late in his career as a member of the Denver Broncos. So John Elway understands what it's like to be an elite quarterback at the end of your career and how you have to put a team together, assemble a team to win a championship. So I think that's the number one thing. The other thing, think about last year. Mike McCoy, the offense coordinator, John Fox, swallowing your pride, swallowing your ego, and essentially putting a college offense, a spread option offense together for their quarterback so that he could operate in that. These are two guys that'll say, Peyton Manning, what do you want to run? Let's run everything at the line of scrimmage, what you're comfortable in doing. We'll put this offense together as a group. We'll put it together. The offense coordinator, you'll be kind of almost a de facto offensive coordinator. You get to run what you want to run, and we'll implement this system based upon how you want to run it and how you've run it your whole career. So I think those two things right there are really the biggest factors that got Peyton Manning to say, this is going to be the best place for me to operate the way I'm comfortable operating and doing the things that I want to do.
Being a resident of the great city of Denver, in a lot of ways, kind of like Indy, underrated,
right.
Centrally located, not much stuff around it. You're kind of in the middle of it there. How much of the culture of the city and the sports market do you think influenced Peyton's decision to help his comfort level and transition from Indianapolis to wherever he was going to play?
Well, I think that's a big thing. I mean, that's what he's comfortable with. Denver and Colorado, very laid-back place, obviously. You know, I always found it funny when I would hear people say, oh, his wife's from Tennessee, and that's where he would want to go because of those connections. You know, me personally, I'm like, who wants to have everybody at your house all the time? Nobody. During the course of a season, this guy is so laser-focused in his preparation, so myopic on the season and the way he looks at it. I wouldn't want that either. I always felt like it was easier during playoff time to go on the road to playoff games rather than, and I love my family, don't get me wrong, but you have everybody coming in, you have everybody in the tickets, and some tickets are here and some tickets are there, and people arguing about where they're going to sit, those are the things that you want to avoid when you're focused on trying to win another championship. So that was never, to me, when I looked at the situation, that was never one of those things that was a bonus. That was a negative for Tennessee, I thought.
How much of a game changer, and again, we'll see the Broncos probably either on Monday Night Football in Week 1 or Sunday Night Football.
Right.
Who knows, maybe they'll put them in the opener against the Giants. You know, you never know with Peyton's new team against Eli. But what does this mean for the balance of power in the AFC? How much better does this make the Broncos? Are they an elite team, 12, 13 wins, and they could get to the Super Bowl next year?
Well, I don't think there's any question. I looked at the Indianapolis Colts last year, and I always said in the last 5 or 6 years, without Peyton Manning, they're a 4-win team. Well, they won two games without Peyton Manning. Last year, that same identical team would have won 9 or 10 games, in my estimation, with Peyton Manning. So instantly, he makes them a playoff contender. Instantly, he makes them one of the best teams, if not the best team in the AFC West. And think about the way they're constructed. In Indianapolis, they always had two smaller defensive ends that could flat rush the passer. Well, in Denver, you've got the same thing. Elvis Dumervil, an undersized guy, great pass rusher, great off the edge. Same thing with Von Miller, defensive rookie of the year last year, coming off the edge. So when you have that kind of system, you can get up 8 to 10 points. You can just unleash those pass rushers, create turnovers, get more opportunities with the ball for Peyton Manning. It's a great fit in Denver.
What would you think Peyton Manning would want to add to this team, whether it's free agents, the people who are left out there, or the draft, if they came to him on knowing the offensive personnel? I know it's different now without Tebow. What do you think?
Well, I understand the comfortable nature that he has with Jeff Saturday, and that would be a great fit for them. Obviously, they've got a guy in J.D. Walton who's a good player. He's not an elite player at the center position, but he's a good player, but he's a young player. Young kid out of Baylor. So Jeff Saturday would come in there, and I think that would help solidify things, and he'd have that comfortable nature out of that shotgun that he's had with Jeff Saturday for a very long time. The Denver Broncos have a couple of young tight ends that they think may develop, but I think another tight end that's really a threat on the edge, a pass-catching threat, that would be another weapon that they would want to implement there for Peyton Manning, because I think total of 23 catches out of the tight end position last year for the Denver Broncos, certainly not enough. So they could go after, they could go after a guy he's very comfortable with in Dallas Clark, who's a free agent, right? So they've got the cap space to do that. They can manipulate that offense a little bit and bring in some pieces for Peyton Manning that he's very comfortable with.